So I have here today Katie and Luke, the head boy and girl at St Anderson's and Brides, to talk about the senior leadership team, the school in general, and their plans for the school throughout the year. So our first question for you two is, what attracts you to the senior leadership team?
Well, I think that it's important that we kind of give back to the school, and I think we've been at the school for 6 years now, so I think we kind of both, and kind of everyone in the senior leadership team has the desire to kind of give back to the school and to kind of help within the school community. So I think I'm sure Katie will agree that that's kind of the most important thing.
Okay, so what would you say is the key to your success?
I think just having determination. Obviously we came in here as quite quiet first years, and now we've just become involved in plenty of things throughout the school, and we were just determined to make it to this sort of level. And
yeah, I think your kind of team working skills are very important as well, because obviously we kind of lead a team of deputies who then lead their own teams of prefects, so I think kind of that teamwork and kind of people skills is also very important. I think that you need to be able to communicate well with your team and kind of be able to organise people.
And certainly be approachable as well.
Be approachable, yeah, definitely.
Okay, so what are your plans for the coming year?
Well, we've kind of been working on several things, so we want to be able to reach out to kind of the younger years and get them involved and coming to speak to us, and so we're trying to organise a couple of events for them, and we're also going to try and work with the kind of upper school to work on their study skills. So obviously there was a study skills event yesterday, so we're working with them to kind of develop their study skills and their exam skills, and hopefully make them more comfortable going into exams. So that's kind of our main aims for the coming year.
So we've seen in previous years the issue that younger years find it quite scary to go to the older years, they find it quite intimidating, and we've seen a lot of the programmes that we've tried previously haven't really worked out. What makes yours different? How have you addressed this issue?
So we think one of the issues with previous years not working is that we've kind of taken the wrong angle of it. So we've kind of taken it as a, if you're having a hard time, then come and see us. But this year we're going to try and take that on a slightly different angle. Rachel Smith, who is one of our deputy head girl, has been to Holy Cross High School and seen what they're doing to try and make a difference in how they approach things. And what we're looking at is that we're not going to kind of advertise this as a way to, for if you're having a hard time, we're going to just encourage people to come and have a chat with us, to come and socialise with us, to kind of give people a space, come up, have your lunch, have a chat with us. And so we're going to try and take it from that angle, and that hopefully it encourages people just to have a conversation with us and to engage with us, and hopefully that will improve this.
So you'll be working with the Making Right School group that's working on anti-bullying that Rachel went on the trip as a part of?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah, absolutely.
that's great. So what advice would you give to the current first year about leadership and getting the most out of the school in general?
I certainly think it's important to just get involved with everything that you can. Myself, I think I'm quite a role model. In terms of getting involved, I've done things like public speaking, newspaper, so I think that's just really important in itself, and just setting personal goals as well. Just to, maybe get involved in a certain club, have achievements in these clubs. I think that's really important.
Yeah, I think definitely. I think setting goals is very important. I think they kind of need to strive to push themselves and to kind of work hard. It's all very well saying, "Oh, I want to do this," but if this is achievable, then it becomes quite easy, and you kind of become quite kind of disinterested. So I think it's important for the kind of younger years to set themselves challenging goals that they can kind of work throughout their school life to try and achieve.
So why do you think student leadership is effective, especially in a kind of school structure?
So obviously it becomes more effective because we are, I think with teachers there can sometimes be a general, what am I trying to say?
People are unwilling to
generational.
Generational issue there, yeah.
There's a generation.
Generational issue.
There's a generational issue where teachers kind of struggle to relate to people. So I think having a pupil leadership team allows us to be able to relate to the younger school, and I think that kind of we can provide an alternative viewpoint from how pupils actually experience that and how they kind of react to different things that go on within the school.
And therefore act as a sort of connection between the teachers and the younger pupils. So I think that's really effective.
So you try and gather different perspectives from different school experiences, because obviously you all had different school experiences going through. Are you gathering people that have dealt with kind of bullying issues, dealt with kind of gender issues in the school, and trying to get a fuller perspective?
Absolutely. So we kind of speak to different people, and that's a good, that we act as the connection. So a teacher might come to us and say, we have this issue, what do you think the solution is? So we can then communicate with people that have had bullying issues, have gender issues, etc., etc. And
because they're certainly more willing to speak to us.
And then we can communicate that information back to the teachers in a way that they can understand and that they can act on.
Yep.
Okay, so that's great. So I think a really strong issue that's within the school, a kind of strong feeling, is do you actually believe people's voices listened to in the school and can actually affect change? And what would you say to those saying that this actual fallacy, it holds no real weight and people's voices kind of at cover for the school doing what they were going to do anyway? There's no actual kind of, they listen to and change with that, it's just kind of fallacy for the school to hide behind?
Well, I think even based on the last, we've only been head boy and head girl for 2 weeks, and the kind of discussions we've been having with teachers about different events that we want to organise, it's purely based on what we want to do. And the school have only said, we will facilitate this, we will do what you want to do, but you obviously need to follow the correct procedure to make the changes that you want to make, to do the things you want to do. But this is entirely on you, and we want you to do this. And I think it's all very well saying, what have previous years done, and I think last year Jack and Alice done a lot of charity work within the school and built a lot of connections between the younger years. So I think it's important that we build on that. But I think it's also important to the younger school that it's now our job to prove to them that what you've just said, to prove to them that we do actually make a difference and that we do make change. And then by doing that, we'll then encourage them when they're in our position in 6th year. We will then encourage them to hopefully take on leadership roles.
Absolutely.
So what are you actively doing to address people's issues? So in previous years, you've seen people complain about the toilets, the state of the toilets and that kind of general feeling. A lot of people have said there's not enough mental health support. There's not enough actual mental health training, anti-bullying training. It's all the guidance teachers do their best, but they're just not given the resources they really need. So if the people voice is saying that, how are you going to address that? How are you going to address the issues that really matter to the pupils?
I think, we've been having several meetings with our leadership team, and then hopefully soon with our extended leadership team. To kind of discuss these various issues and sit down and decide what's the best way to tackle these. You mentioned mental health. Rachel Smith has also been working on that, and people see posters around the school with her new mental health initiative, and I think that's really important. So I think it's kind of just a matter of time really for us to sit down, kind of identify issues. I think toilets are obviously a kind of very contentious
But as you've seen, period poverty has came to the floor recently, and the school's doing plenty to deal with that. And as part of that, we're looking to improve the toilets and just make them more pleasant. So I certainly think that big steps are being made this year.
So what's the kind of transition from meetings and talking about it to actual change? Do you know what the kind of process is there, or is that something you're learning from?
Well, so obviously we're kind of dipping our toes in the water a little bit here, but we've kind of almost been given free rein, and what we have to do, we have to kind of get approval. So we need to go to Mrs. McNair or senior management and say, this is what we want to do, and this is how we are going to do it. And generally, I think the idea is that we're just going to be, as long as we follow the correct procedure, kind of health and safety, risk assessment, etc., that they will let us go ahead with that. So it's just a matter of kind of getting our ideas together and working through those with the senior leadership team, and then with the extended leadership team, and then the rest of the year.
Of course, so we want to get their opinions first before we make any big changes.
Okay. So is there anything you feel needs to be improved in the school?
I think communication is a big one that needs to be improved in the school. I think there can be a lack of communication sometimes between teachers and pupils, kind of based on events that are going on within the school. So I think one of the things we really want to work on is how do we get information from teachers to pupils.
And as the connectors, I think that's where we
that's kind of almost our role. So I think that's one of the important things that we're going to try and focus on.
So what actual issues are you focusing on?
So just as you said, communication. So we feel that like school events, like to Rome, school trips, issues like that, we don't see a lot of communication from the school telling us what's happening and what the arrangements are, etc. And we think that this information does exist. It just isn't distributed in an effective way. So we really want to make use of kind of the screens in the street to maybe show the bulletin to get that, because that is great information that exists daily that often isn't communicated well with the pupils.
We have seen issues with that they don't know what's going on and they feel quite disconnected.
So that's kind of the main thing that we want to address in the short term.
So, and finally, what message would you like to deliver to the school as a whole from your positions as head boy and girl?
I think that people should just get involved with as much as they can. School is obviously not just about the academic side of things, it's about wider achievement and getting involved with things like Duke of Edinburgh that we've been involved in ourselves. And I think we certainly speak from experience. So
and I think just kind of having good relationships in school is so important. So building good relationship with your peers and your teachers will take you a long way through school. So I think that's kind of an important message for the younger school, and that will carry them through the rest of their school career.
Okay, so you feel that if you focus on kind of the school community as a whole, it'll help you kind of in your journey?
Absolutely.
So I think that's everything we have time for today. Thank you very much for speaking with us, and I'm
Thank you
sure
very
the school will be happy to listen to what you have to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you
thank you so much.